Hello, welcome to the Southern Bible Thumper channel. For this upload, we will be reading 2 Samuel chapter 8. And after this, it came to pass that David smote the Philistines and subdued them. And David took Metheghamah out of the hand of the Philistines, and he smote Moab and measured them with a line, casting them down to the ground. Even with 2 lines measured he to put to death, and with 1 full line to keep alive. And so the Moabites became David's servants and brought gifts. David smote also Hadadezer, the son of Rehob, king of Zobah, as he went to recover his border at the river Euphrates. And David took from him 1,000 chariots, and 700 horsemen, and 20,000 footmen. And David houghed all the chariot horses, but reserved of them 400 chariots. And when the Syrians of Damascus came to succor Hadadezer, king of Zobah, David slew of the Syrians 22,000 men. Then David put garrisons in Syria of Damascus, and the Syrians became servants to David, and brought gifts. And the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went. And David took the shields of gold that were on the servants of Hadadezer, and brought them to Jerusalem, and from Beta, and from Berothai, cities of Hadadezer, King David took exceeding much brass. When Toi, king of Hamath, heard that David had smitten all the host of Hadadezer, then Toi sent Joram his son unto King David to salute him and to bless him, because he had fought against Hadadezer and smitten him. For Hadadezer had wars with Toi. And Joram brought with him vessels of silver, and vessels of gold, and vessels of brass, which also King David did dedicate unto the Lord with the silver and gold that he had dedicated of all nations which he subdued, of Syria, and of Moab, and of the children of Ammon, and of the Philistines, and of Amalek, and of the spoil of Hadadezer, son of Rehob, king of Zobah. And David gat him a name when he returned from smiting of the Syrians in the valley of Salt, being 18,000 men. And he put garrisons in Edom. Throughout all Edom put he garrisons, and all they of Edom became David's servants. And the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went. And David reigned over all Israel, and David executed judgment and justice unto all his people. And Joab the son of Zeruiah was over the host, and Jehoshaphat the son of Ahiliad was recorder, and Zadok the son of Ahitub, and Ahimelech the son of Abithar were the priests, and Sariah was the scribe, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada was over both the Sherethites and the Pelethites, and David's sons were chief rulers. In the previous chapter, 2 Samuel 7, as David began to have peace from fighting his enemies, he thought to build an official area for the Ark of God, since now the Ark is behind some curtains. Prophet Nathan receives an official word of God confirming that God would appreciate his own dedicated area. David ends the chapter with a beautiful monologue to God. The current chapter, 2 Samuel 8. This chapter details David's additional conquests against the Moabites, the Philistines, and the Syrians. King Toi of Hamath salutes David with gifts after Israel defeats the people of Hadadezer because they were an enemy of Hamath, or King Toi's territory. The chapter ends with acknowledging Israel's notable leaders. Summarizing 2 Samuel chapter 8. We learn in verse 1 that David smote the Philistines. Since the book of Judges, maybe before even then, the Israelites and the Philistines have this adversarial relationship where they are always battling with each other. But in this chapter, Israel defeats the Philistines. David took Metheghamah, and so I just Googled this because I was just interested in what this word meant. And literally, it translates into bridle of the metropolis. Um, when I typed in bridle, this is what it brought up. This is headgear that goes around an animal. When I looked at the resource on the Interlinear Bible, this provides a reference of 1 Chronicles 18, and it's referring to Gaith. So I didn't go look this up because First Chronicles is in ahead of where we are now. And in order to properly just understand this reference, We need to know who's speaking, the context, anything that's led up to it to make sure we get the full understanding and to make sure that this is actually a reference. So that's what we have here. When I typed it in, it says on Wikipedia, which anybody can add information there, but just to help give us some direction of what to even type in to look up next, because that's sometimes how you have to research as well. You'll type something into the internet, it'll bring you an informal resource like this, but it gives you some direction of what you can Google next. So when I saw this, I realized that this term is not an actual city, even though it's capitalized. And capitalization of a word would help us understand if it's a specific city or territory. Capitalization makes words a proper noun. So, but in this case, it was not. So it's just like I don't know to call it a nickname or a saying. Um, I don't know if colloquialism would be, or, if that would be the correct term to use, but a colloquialism is something used in informal conversation. Vernacular, dialect, uh, slang, non-formal. So just the reason why I'm pointing that out is because the only time that, according to Wikipedia, that this term appears is in 2 Samuel 8. And by the time we get to First Chronicles, we're going to see this being referred to, and it's going to be Gath. So Gath is a Philistine territory. Verse 1 is just telling us that David took this, and what was significant about this term, Methagame, is that this is a chief city. So, Brattle of the metropolis, uh, chief city, mother city. So, this was like a big win. All right. David also smote Moab and turning some of them to servants. 2 lines he measured to put to death, 1 line he kept alive and made them servants. David smote another uh, leader, Hadadezer, who was a king. David took 1,000 chariots, 700 people, 20,000 footmen. David hoed, David hamstrung, crippled all of the chariot horses. Just want to look that up really quick. Oops. To make ineffective or powerless to disable. So, okay, that's what that's saying here. David disabled all of the chariot horses, but left enough for 100 chariots. Verse 6, David put garrisons or military structures, safe havens in Syria. And the Syrians became servants to David and brought him gifts. God preserved him. Verse Okay, then it says David took the shields of gold from one group to bring back to Jerusalem. He took brass from 3 cities. He took the shields of gold from Hadadezer and from 2 of Hadadezer's cities. He took brass. So I'm sorry, 2 cities. Verses 9 and 10. King Toi of Hamath sent gifts of gold and brass to David as a salute, because when David defeated this Hadadezer territory, this was an enemy of King Toi. So when David was successful against Toi's enemy, Toi saluted him with gifts. David dedicates these gifts to God with the silver and gold that he also attained from these other nations, Syria, Moab, the children of Ammon. Okay, all these peoples listed in verse 12. Verse 13, David, his reputation is growing in a very positive manner through doing this. In the Valley of Salt, he defeated the Syrians, 18,000 men. Then he put military structures in Edom. And we know that Edom is the descendant of Esau, or Edom is Esau, and Israel is the descendant of Jacob. So Jacob and Esau were twins. So all these years later, Israel, David, who's an Israelite, he is leading his people, Jacob's descendants, against Edom, Esau's descendants. So David put military structures in Edom, territory that Esau, the descendants, were the territories that Esau's descendants roamed in. The people of Edom become David's servants. God preserved David. David reigned over Israel. So Genesis chapter 32, verse 3 lets us know that Edom is Esau. I should have mentioned that. I just saw that now. We get from verses 15 to 18. This is just giving us who ruled what, or what people had leadership positions in David's uh, kingdom. So David reigns over Israel, executing justice. Joab is an army captain. Zavok, Zadok. Man, my handwriting was not great. Zadok and Ahimelech were the priests. Syria is the scribe or the secretary. Benaiah he oversaw these two groups, the Sherethites and the Pelethites, and then David's son were chief rulers. Thank you for clicking on the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I love you, and I'm so thankful to be able to do this because God could have asked anyone. I love you. Have a wonderful day.